Chapter 18 is called Moonlight Rescue. Goldenrod moved quickly through the brush. I was right behind her, but oh, the grass and branches and tiny rocks tickled my whiskers, scraped my paws, and made me itchy all over. Skitter, scatter, skit! That there was someone else in the brush. Could it be the howler? Skitter, scatter, squeak! I was pretty sure the howler didn't squeak. Come on, Lucky, Goldenrod said. We have to help our friend Humphrey. Then I heard squeak, skitter, scat. You can help too. Go, go, she said. Soon there were about a dozen mice accompanying us, Goldenrod's brothers, sisters, and cousins. They scampered along through the underbrush as I desperately tried to keep up. Then I heard hoot, 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 hoot. Excuse me, I said, gasping a bit for air, but did I just hear an owl? Sure, said Goldenrod. That's why we try not to go out in the open. Good call, I agreed. And then I saw the most wonderful sight I'd ever seen. The moonlight shimmered and glimmered across the surface of the lake. The water was silvery purple. I guess that's why it was called Lake Lavender. It was beautiful. Oh, but I also felt a bad feeling deep in my tummy. Maybe Og would prefer this beautiful lake to his tabletop tank. Maybe Og was happier with the frogs in the Lake Lavender than he was living next door to a hamster. Goldenrod led us to the very edge of the water, where there were tall plants and soft grasses. Here we are, she squeaked. At least I think that's what she squeaked. I could barely hear her over the deafening chorus of frogs. I never knew there were so many kinds of frogs and so many different sounds. Quink, 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 rum, 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 tucka, tucka, tuck, chirp, chirp, chirp. But I didn't hear a single boing. How can I find him? I asked Goldenrod. Call him, she said. Maybe he'll hear you. There was a nice flat rock nearby. I climbed up to the top, cleared my throat, and squeaked with all my might. Og, this is your friend Humphrey. Og, Og. The quaking and chirping continued. If only those big bullfrogs would stop rumming for a second. Og, I shrieked. Og, it's Humphrey. Oddly enough, the chorus suddenly became quiet. Quiet enough for me to hear a clear and distinct boing. I'd know that boing anywhere. Og, if you'd rather stay here at the lake, where it's beautiful in the moonlight, I'll understand, I told him, but if you'd like to come back and be my neighbor again, we can lead you back. Boing, boing, was the response. My friends know the way, I continued, and the kids miss you a lot. Boing, boing, boing. Did that sound a little bit closer? I'm here on a rock on the shore, I told him. I was afraid my small hamster voice might not hold up much longer. Boing, boing, Og answered. I waited and waited until I heard familiar splashing, and then I saw him, his bright green skin shining in the moonlight, his big googly eyes gleaming, and that big old goofy grin. He was on shore, hopping toward me. Og, I missed you, I shouted. Boing, boing, he replied, so I knew he'd missed me too. Hoot, 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 hoot. Hurry, let's get back in the bush, Goldenrod said. Quietly, without another squeak, Goldenrod, Lucky, Go-Go, and others led Og and me skittering and hopping through the undergrowth on the long trek back to the robin's nest cabin. I can't thank you all enough, I told my wild friends. They squeaked good luck and scampered off, disappearing into the bushes. Only Goldenrod lingered for a few seconds. You are a wonderful friend to Og, she told me. You are a wonderful friend to me, I replied. And Goldenrod, you'll be careful with that owl, won't you? Of course, she said, but Lucky can tell you more about that owl than I can. He was just a baby when an owl swooped down and picked him up. I gasped. Oh no! Goldenrod nodded. But for some reason he dropped him right away. That's how he got his name, Lucky. I shuddered a little and she turned to leave. If I ever can help you, please let me know, I called after her. Thanks, she said shyly. Then in a flash she was gone. I looked over at my old pal, who looked tired and pale. Of course, he needed water. Luckily there was a lovely puddle at the bottom of the steps. After sitting in the water while he looked like his old self again. I sat there with Og for the rest of the night. Neither of us said a thing. We didn't need to. When it started to get light, I told Og to stay right where he was. Then I slid back under the door. I knew from experience that there was no way to get back on the table, so I waited. Then the loudspeaker played that awful wake-up song. The girls began to stir. As soon as I saw Miranda sit up, I began to squeak, squeak, squeak at the top of my lungs. She heard me and jumped out of bed. Humphrey, you're out of your cage, she said, dashing toward me. I was way ahead of her. I raced to the door and slid under it. Come back, Miranda ran after me and opened the door. I hurried down to Og's puddle. He was still there, thank goodness. Miranda stopped short and stared. Og? That's Og, she screamed. The other robins were outside now, screaming with happiness. Gail picked up my cage first and then Og. I'll go tell Miss Mac, Miranda shook off, running, still in her PJs. Tell me again, Miss Mac said, after Og was back in his tank and I was back in my cage. Miranda told the story again. I'm afraid with all the fuss about Og, one of you forgot to lock Humphrey's cage, she said. Sorry, the robins said in unison. Both a little guilty because they didn't have anything to be sorry about. Miss Mac pointed a finger in my direction. And you, Humphrey, were naughty to get out of your cage. Naughty, yes, but it was well worth it to have my friend back. I guess somehow Og found his way back, though I can't imagine how, Miss Mac continued. But here he is, and that's all that counts. I couldn't have agreed more. Og and I put in a special appearance in the dining hall at breakfast that morning to loud cheers and applause. Noah got up and apologized to Og and to the other campers. I could tell he was really, really, really sorry. I thought I knew a lot about animals, he said. I thought that frogs belonged with frogs, but now I know that some frogs belong with people. Then half prepared everyone for the final day of competitions. Play hard, play fair, have fun, he said. And now let the games begin. I glanced over at Saya. This was the moment she'd been dreading. Surprised, she had a big smile on her face. Humans are hard to figure out, but that's what makes them so interesting. Note to self. You can know a lot, but nobody knows everything. Chapter 19 is called The Winners After Dinner.